spring is coming on fast, even though the calendar doesn't say it yet. So I've been out here prepping my flower beds, thinning the succulents, pulling weeds for several weeks now. And looks like we've got another drought year. So I've got a little project in mind. Out here along the street, I've always gardened this little strip between the sidewalk and the curb. But you know, with the drought, it's one of those things where I think I got to cut back on where I'm using water. So I don't want to garden that and water that anymore. You can see down here, there's some lamb's ear, there's some stepping stones. I've already done weeding in here, but you know what? Instead of spending all this time weeding this out, I'm just going to dig this out. If I put in paving stones here, that will offer, you know, just a nice clean area where it's easy for people to walk, get in and out of their automobiles that they park at the curb, and solve my problem of needing to water plants out here. First thing I got to do is dig all that out. Lamb's ear. Those are pretty big rocks. I got all the plants and weeds dug out of here. Found a lot more cobbles in there than I remembered, but got them all out. So that's it for today. I'm gonna move all these cobblestones, sweep up the concrete here, and call it good for the day. And then we'll figure out what we're doing with the rest of this tomorrow. This is what I decided to put in. These are concrete pavers I picked up at a local building supplier. I looked at all the options of what was available. My space over there is about 17 inches wide. These are 16 inches wide, so it means that I can put full pavers in and just go down the row. It does narrow down to about 15.5 inches on the one end, so I will have to figure out how to cut these a little bit. These are 2 inches thick, so what I've got to do is dig that out over there, and what I've decided to do is skip one step. Normally when you install pavers, you put down a gravel base and you compact that, then you do a sand layer that you level, then you put your pavers down. The gravel acts as a solid base, and it also provides some drainage when you're doing a broader surface area. This is a clay soil, and it turns rock hard when it's dry. It packs, I tell you. And because it's such a narrow spot, I don't have to worry about drainage. So I need to dig out 2 inches for this, plus 1 inch for my sand bed. I cut a board to 3 inches tall so I could gauge the exact depth I need to dig. I got this all dug out and leveled off to 3 inches depth exactly using my 3-inch screed board. So now I'm ready to put in my sand and my my pavers. What I did decide to do is put down some weed barrier. I don't know if this is really necessary, but I figure it can't hurt. Since there were so many weeds and roots in here, I figured I will put this down, and hopefully if there's any seeds and roots that want to grow up, this will help stop it or at least slow it down. Now this is just an all-purpose construction sand, a coarse material that'll pack and interlock pretty well. I cut a board to act as a screed so I can level this out, and what I want it to do is fill this and leave it almost exactly 2 inches from the top. You can see how this works. It's pretty easy, and yet this is probably the most exacting part of this whole project, because you want to get this level to ensure that your pavers are going to sit uniform. I just want to make sure this is compacted enough. Well, I've gone as far as I can without cutting the tiles or cutting the stones. Down here you can see, get out of the shadow, I am now getting so narrow that these last couple, I've got to figure out how to cut them down a little bit. And I got to figure out how to cut a paver to fit in that little triangle there. So that's what we're going to do now. Well, what I decided to do, just working with the tools I own, I put a diamond blade on this little trim saw, and what I'm going to do is score this, work it the depth down as far as I feel comfortable with the little trim saw, flip it over and do that on both sides and see if I can't just break this paver right along that line. I don't know. Oh, that cut easy enough there. Let's see if I can go a little deeper. Okay, I'll do the other side. Looked okay? All right, I'm happy with that. Well, that should work. There we go. Yeah. All right. All right. Got it all. The forecast calls for a little rain tonight, so I think I'm going to let this be, and we'll leave it till tomorrow. Hey, Steve. Today I'm doing the final step of this project, and that's to fill the joints with the paver sand. Now, paver sand is different than regular sand in that it has a polymer additive which helps the sand harden and bind together. These joints, at least on one side here, are outside of the spec for the sand. They are wider than what the product is designed for. It'll fill a joint from an 1/8 inch up to a 1/2 inch in width. And I have spaces here that are getting above that, 3/4 of an inch, even an inch or more down that way. But I'm gonna do this anyway and just see how it works out. And I figure I've got nothing to lose. So I put the sand in a bucket here just so it was easier for me to handle. And all we need to do is spread it and get it into all the joints, both between the pavers and at the side of the pavers. After this is all spread, it's going to get watered in. I'll get the hose over here and just wet it down. And we're just watering it in a little bit. Supposed to let that set about a 1/2 hour and then water it one more time. This is the final result. I'm pretty happy with it. You can see the sand grout sort of washed out over the curb a little bit from the water. Left a little bit of a residue, but I think I can probably clean that off with a brush. They're solid, looks good. Now I just need to do that other little section on that side of the driveway.